We are back. We are back. Did you miss us? Did you miss us? Got a couple exciting topics to talk about. First, we're going to start off with the sadness. There's a little crying going on in college sports. So, is it justified? Is it heart? Is it softness? What's going on with these coaches and these players? What's going on with Caleb Williams on
Well,
national TV?
what's going on with Caleb Williams is that when you decide to make a fun of somebody else doing it, and then you come back and follow and do the same thing, that's what a big issue. And the point of reference is when he tweeted and then deleted his tweet when Max Duggan, if you remember the Big 12 championship, TCU, during his press conference, he let his emotions out. Now, when you in that type of game and your emotions come out, it's valid for you to allow those emotions to come out because it's a Big 12 championship game or a major game. And Caleb made light of that. And although he deleted the tweet, it's living with him, especially now after what he did after the loss to Washington. And he ran to mommy and was consoled. I get it. But the games, the magnitude of the games weren't the same, in my opinion. And I think that's why Caleb is getting a lot of backlash for it. One, he made the tweet. And then you can take it back to when he played in the Pac-12 championship against the Utah Utes. And if you remember, he painted his fingernails, F the Utes. And what happened in that game? They got blown out. So he's getting a lot of backlash for that, for those two things, amongst other things. But that I think that's the major reason why Crybaby Caleb will be a new moniker for him.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of, you got a guy who, beginning of the football season, was the bona fide first overall pick in this upcoming draft. And now, he's starting to hear noise about, is he the top quarterback in the nation? Or is it May? Or is there another quarterback? Then on top of that, you come to adversity, you're losing. He's not used to losing like this on any level, especially on a national level like this. Kind of remind me of Adam Morrison. Bob knows this guy very well. Was what the National Player of the Year and was supposed to be this top, I think 5 NBA prospect and lost and was on the court. Boo crying was never the same since. So it's just a sign that Caleb can't handle adversity. Does he learn from it? Does he grow from it? But right now, to Jay No's point, it's easy to go ahead and point fingers and when somebody else is doing it, but now that you're doing it, is he going to do woe is me? Or is he going to man up and ball out? So, jury out on that. But just another story of, hey, to get punching them out. But what Mike Tyson say? Everybody got a plan to get punching them out. Man, getting punching them out and I ain't crying about it.
Exactly.
I have no problem with the emotions. It's just the optics. You're on national TV. You hop up in the stands and mom's arm. You the leader, the quarterback. Those type of things. It's okay to hurt. After a big loss, but in my opinion, it should have been behind closed doors, locker room. With your team or something like that. In the media, they see you in mom's arm crying. Uncontrollably. They're gonna have a field day with that, and which they did. And so many people start to question, your leadership. At the quarterback position, can you lead men? All of those things. So now that's going to be a big question mark for him. After loss, you get in the NFL, is this going to be the type of response, crying? Or are we going to go be like, I'm fueled. Hey, when I see them again, hey, man, I'm going to kick their ass or whatever the case may be. So I do think it was kind of a setback, in terms of leadership for him. My opinion, it wasn't a good look, for a starting quarterback.
Now, does it matter the game that's in hand, a regular season game, or hey, Sugar Bowl, national championship? Does either any game justify doing that? Is it worse because it was a regular season game or just any game, period? Because we still see it in the NFL. These guys who have played at the collegiate level and these guys who've played in the NFL, we still see some tears coming from them. So would it been okay, justified if it was a national, a national championship game he cried at?
Well, I think it's okay to show emotion, but when you show emotion by running to your mom, that's when the optics come in play. We've seen several times of players make a bad play, make a mistake, or they give it all and leave it all on the field and get emotional. But rarely do we see them then go run to a parent for comfort. So that's when you start really looking at him like, okay, does he have the leadership? Does he have the successful fortitude to, 'cause like at the end of the day, he's the leader and he has his teammates looking at him as well. If the teammates looking at him for strength and they see his emotion, like, okay, it's okay to show emotion. He's doing it for us. It's one thing, but then when they look around, like, where's Caleb? And he's being consoled by his mom, it just puts everything into a totally different light.
And I'll piggyback on that. I think it's the timing of it, right? And to Samson's question, depending on type game. Now, if we're talking about a win in a big situation, I understand that. You go to your family, you celebrate, and tears can come down. And we saw that with Michael Jordan when he won his championships. But during a regular season loss, I understand, Washington, that game was a big game. They really needed that game. But to you guys' point, that shows leadership. Look, bro, we got knocked down, we got punched in the mouth, and we have to come back. We have to go back to the drawing board. This is not the time, like sports guys say, this is optics. This is not the time to show our weakness to the whole world. You see what I'm saying? We deal with this in the locker room. That's what the locker room is for. Okay, you can walk with your head down. You can keep your helmet on and tears come out. That's cool. But the optics of, like sports guys said, when you being consoled by mommy, come on. It is a bad look for any football player. I mean, let's just be real. There's the masculine of masculine sports, and I would not allow anybody to discredit that. This is a man's game, and you have to man up at all times. You have to keep your emotions in check, regardless of the situation, and especially during a regular season game. I just think that's just a bad look, and hopefully, I mean, you're talking about somebody who's potentially number one pick. Somebody who's made comments saying that, I want equity in a team that drafts me. I won't go to certain teams that they draft me. That type of talk. And you crying to mommy after a regular season game? Yeah, we got some toughen up to do.
Well, there's a lot of football to be played, so of course he can bring back the masculinity in himself. But has he hurt his stock already with doing this for next year?
Talent wise, no. But you, hey,
Leadership
Brown
wise.
say, but sports guy said, you said leadership wise. Do we have a crybaby, or we got somebody who can take a whipping and come back the next game?
I'm gonna say yes, because the thing is that he already was, teetering to no longer being the number one prospect anymore. On top of that, now you're showing that, you may not be someone who can handle that adversity. We've seen right now with Bryce Young, for instance, here's a Heisman Trophy winner, one of the top quarterbacks in the nation, and he's struggling with a lot of adversity in his rookie season. Whereas, you have folks like CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson before he got hurt, Will Levis, is coming in and showing that they can handle it. So if you got a guy who's already showing symptoms of being fragile, is he going to be able to handle that pressure, or is he going to succumb to the pressure? So I think it's something that he really have to answer for. I know that a lot of folks look at it like he shouldn't have to, but he's going to have to answer for it because, like Jay I know said, this is a grown man league. And if you come in there, showing any sign of weakness, it would devour you in a heartbeat.
Yeah. And I think this is where on those interviews where we've seen so many players and teams fall in love with players, this could be one of those situations where a team could possibly fall out of love with them. So, what you got, sports guy?
I mean, I agree. His talent. Yeah, teams. It's only going to take one team. They're going to roll with the talent. But in terms of the team he go to, the locker room, and the players and everything, it's going to hurt him. No doubt about it. It's going to hurt him. Because right now he's looked at, as a crybaby. Someone weak. And you can't have that lead man in the NFL. So.
Yep. Well, we'll see how this goes with this gameplay and see how his relationship grows from here on out, whether he takes it as a learning opportunity and become a leader, or He looks for his parents in the stands again. So moving across the water, we have interim head coach Sharon Moore thanking Jim Harbaugh. Okay, based on this interview, we get it. Thank you. We know you fucking love this guy because you stated it. Is this passion or is this acting for the camera?
I would say it's a little bit of both. If we get a little context behind this, I mean, he's been with the program, what, 6, 7 odd years. I think he's in a position where, somebody believes in you because you're around that long. And that person who went to bat for you is dealing with whatever they're dealing with. The emotions, I can understand the emotion. But how it came across to me, it just sounded forced. It sounded like I need to put on, this show to show coach that, hey, you know what, I really love you, man. And I get it. Maybe people cry different. People cry different. But it just seemed like it was forced. And that's just me looking in. I feel that, it was for the camera, and I could be totally wrong. Once she started asking them questions, the emotions started coming out. And, for me, I'm cool with it as far as that, if that's a natural thing that was just going to happen organically. But it sounded forced to me. And like I said, everybody cries different, but it sounded forced to me.
I didn't have an issue with the crying. You could cry, you could shed some tears, forget the opportunity. You can even say thank you. But why are you in there cussing like crazy? I mean, you were supposed to be professional, showing professionalism. You got guys on that team, whether you interim, whether you full time, they're looking up to you. And one of the things about football, all sports, especially football, teaches discipline, teaches professionalism. And you coming in as an interim head coach and you cussing the heck in the fool doing the interview, and you know that interview is going to be streamed and seen by millions of eyes. I mean, if I'm a parent, I'm looking at that dude like, man, I don't know if this dude, I don't want my kid around this dude nuts. It just, no, you're supposed to just hold yourself to a higher standard. Like, hey, thankful for the opportunity, although the opportunity coming across over some scandal, but still, thanks for the opportunity, thanks for allowing me to be able to be in this position. And if you want to shed a tear, that's fine, no problem with that. But all them profanity and stuff like that, come on, dude, you look ignorant.
Yeah, the emotions that he had like several emotions all at one time, in that interview, with the cussing and the crying and elevated voice and low voice and everything. Like, come on, man. That interview killed your opportunity for ever getting a head coaching
Right.
job anywhere. One thing when we're in front of the camera, we got to be professional all the time. We got to kind of channel our emotions and make sure that, hey, when we present ourselves, when you present yourself to the public, that it's always in a professional manner. You're in control of your words, your emotions, and everything. Because other organizations, teams, they look at that type of stuff, and I think that it's okay to love like Jim Harbaugh, that your coach. I understand, but the way it came out, uh, I'm not on board with that. Tell them after the game, but not on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It seemed like that interview took away from the actual game, from what the players actually accomplished and whatnot. And like I said, I mean, I don't believe it was something he intended to do. It's definitely a emotion that came out, but I just did not like how it came out. And K. Rouse, to your point, the profanity was just, I mean, come on, bro. Like, I understand you emotional, you and all that, but I don't know. It was just weird, awkward.
But the thing that get me is that, hey, regular season games matter, but when there's not no shade, yeah, I know it's your squad, but when last time I won that championship? Like I understand I mean, it was reminding me of Pat Bell jumping up on the scoreboard after the plane. Like, yo, come on, dude. Like, okay, that's great, y'all won, but it's a regular season game. Let's see what you do against Ohio State. Let's see what you do when you go up against, a team you should beat again in the playoff. Let's see what you do if you face Georgia. That's why we want to see your real emotion come out. Not when you go ahead and win a little regular season game that you're supposed to have won. So Hey, Pat Bell to me, bro.
Samson,
you know,
can I clear the air real quick?
Clear it out.
Clemson is my first team. You know that. Michigan is my secondary team. I have been rocking with them for a long time, but yeah, just to clear the air.
Yeah, I'm all for the emotions, but look, man, we have to keep it professional. And you know, he's been given the opportunity to fill in for this coach. He could make the best of this opportunity, but he started off in possibly one of the worst ways he could. Because I'm looking at, all right, if this guy continues with Michigan and takes them on the roll, Harbaugh comes back, I might want to offer him a job. But if he did this after one win, he might throw a whole party at the press conference for my new college. I mean, what he gonna say? First of all, I want to thank the motherfucking athletic director for giving me a motherfucking chance in this motherfucking stadium. You know, it's like, bro. I mean, I would be concerned going forward of his emotions. Is like K. Ryle said, do I want my child around him? I might be scared that he get angry and just punch one. I mean, we got coaches doing it now from the high school level, and I've seen it recently last week. Player come off the field, dude shoved the football in his stomach, knocked the wind out of him, fired the next day.
Yep.
You know, nothing wrong with passion, but at the same time, leave that stuff at home. You can take that behind closed doors. And if you're gonna do that, okay, you crying, but dropping the F-bombs and all that, yeah. I'm gonna have to leave you as interim and put you back at the position if Harbaugh comes back.
I don't even know what position coach is he?
I don't know. But based on that, he will be going back to it.
Going back to the special teams.
Yeah. So we're gonna leave this college stuff alone and we're gonna move to the pros. So we got a person that's been touting a team for a long time. And I hate to say it, they might be legit. Them Cleveland Browns.
Browns, baby.
I see that I see that they got their masseuse back into the game. So looking like he might be worth a couple million, not the 230. But are those Browns legit?
That's former superstar Clemson great masseuse to you, sir. That's why I'm rocking my Clemson. Deshaun, I got you, baby. I mean, you know, I love teams that play great defense. I'm a defensive guy. And when I see a team come out playing the amount of defense, the type solid defense still having, got Jim Swart, defense coordinator. We know his weekend, we know his pedigree. And just to see them come out and with that tenacious defense they have. And not only that, but you know, despite Mr. Masseuse man being hurt, you know, they're still being competitive in every game. You know, I mean, PJ Walker, you know, I tease sports guy by him all the time, but we know, you know, he ain't about to be a top 30 quarterback on any day. But the team was competitive. They lost Chubb, was still competitive. I mean, to me, the team just, you know, got a lot of fire behind it. I'm not calling them to come out the AFC. But how about them Browns, baby?
I will have to disagree in this game as far as your defense that you're hyping up. I mean, they gave up what 30, 31 points. They technically they should have lost. I mean, but I don't want to hype. I mean, huh?
Pick
What's
six.
that?
Pick six.
Well, they both had pick sixes. You know, I mean, so I don't want to overstate the Browns defense. I mean, they played a good game and they stayed in the game. They came back 14 in the fourth quarter. Deshaun showed on that last drive that he has heart. Dealing with a bum ankle or whatever it was. But I just don't want to overstate the defense. I don't know. I want to give them too much credit. Definitely not in this game here. I mean, it's a game that they technically should have lost. But I think I want to highlight more so what happened on the Ravens side, and getting back to what Sampson was questioning a couple weeks ago. Is Lamar going to fall back into his old self? And I won't say that he did, but he did leave lead the team in rushing this game again. So I'm like thinking Mitchell coming off that previous game where he showed that he had the talent to be maybe not an every down back, but contribute more. And he only got 3 attempts in this game. So what happened with that whole scheme of the offense that the Ravens had coming into this game, where Lamar is focusing on passing, and we're going to hand the ball off to capable backs? So I think there's a lot of questioning for me with the Ravens offense more so than the Browns defense in this game.
Hey, I'm,
Brown defense is ranked #1, by the way, JB. Just want
Say that again?
I'm gonna go with the Kimbe Mutombo. No, 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 no. Hey, man, none of us is picking. I'm gonna say Cleveland Browns is gonna win a playoff game, get to the Super Bowl, or any of that. So, really, what happened on Sunday, it don't even matter. Cleveland Browns, Baltimore Ravens had a bad day, bad game. You won and everything, but I'm not about to boost you up into the upper echelon because you beat the Ravens. I'm not going to do that. They say any given Sunday for any reason, and this last Sunday was one of those any given Sunday. So,
Right.
Browns gonna be the Browns.
So Cleveland Browns have had some quality wins this season. Do you take that for granted as well?
Hey, let me see it in the playoffs. Win a playoff game, and then we can have a conversation. I'll give you credit, but until they win a playoff game or even get into the playoffs, I mean they should, but still long season. So once they get in the playoffs and play some playoff football and win some games, then I'll be on board with Cleveland.
Well, I would say one thing, and the reason why I had to back the Browns last week was mainly because there was one team you guys spoke of that was in some of your top 5. Surely wasn't in my top 5, and that's the Buffalo Bills. And now here's a team that's going through a bunch of dissension now. Here's a team that lost to the Denver Broncos, who we all agree were left for dead weeks ago. And here's a team now where you got a brother from another team saying that his brother need to be off of that team because he's being underutilized. Only had 3 catches for like 33 yards. And it's saying that the quarterback is the problem, and we see Josh Allen throwing picks left and right. But the media keeps calling him a gunslinger, keeps calling him a competitor, and all this other stuff. You got 12 men on the field doing a key down. You got PI where you don't even look at the ball and just knock the receiver over. So put Cleveland top 5 now, baby.
But it's the offensive coordinator's fault all that happened, right?
Ken Dorsey.
That's crazy. Somebody got to take the blame. Yeah. I was a little big on Buffalo, I guess, because I like that Glenn Singler mentality earlier on, but as the season played out, the more and more I just saw them unraveling, and it's come full circle with Buffalo. They're done.
Oh, I agree, and I think I want to go back a couple of weeks when I said, depending on Diggs, if they try to please him more than just be playing team ball, things are going to spiral out of control. And I think he is his presence is starting to weigh on Allen. In my mind, I don't know if him forcing the ball, these INTs are Diggs related or dig targets all the time, but that has to have some kind of pressure on you where you have this guy bitching, bitching on the field saying, I'm open, throw me the ball, give me targets. And you feel that you have to make him happy. And you forget about everything else, the whole scheme of the game. Your only thing is, I got to give him targets. And that just messes everything up. It becomes more about that player than the team. And we've seen the impact of players, wide receivers mostly, being divas, and what that correlates to. I mean, it's something that they're going to have to figure out real soon, or you're just going to lose that team completely. I don't think they're out of it, but if they can't figure out that Allen and Diggs or that Diggs issue, and then like you said, K. Riles, if Diggs' brother is saying that this guy, saying what he's saying, that ain't good, man. That's not a good recipe for success.
Hey, so is Is it Diggs or is it Allen? You know, everything I hear all the time is Diggs.
It's a little bit of both.
The problem is Josh Allen. Even coming into the draft, the things that we see, you know, with the, you know, his low percentage throws, you know, throwing the ball in tight spaces, all those different type of concerns coming into the draft is kind of resurfaced him playing in the NFL. You know, so you know, I think Josh Allen has always said that he's overrated, you know, as a QB, and he doesn't seem to get any of the blame when they lose, you know, in big games every year, and every time they lose because he's throwing an interception.
But last night felt like they were trying to highlight the mess out of him. I mean, it was the running game was killing. Latavius Murray was in a time capsule. He was beasting. James Cook was running all over Denver, and they kept insisting on putting the ball in Josh Allen's hands. And I don't. This guy does not have the discipline to let the game play it out. He always forcing throws. He always forcing himself downfield to get cracked up. So I agree. I mean, they're going to always, put the emphasis on Diggs because he's a wide receiver. Wide receivers got a reputation. But to me, Josh Allen has held that team back for a long time with his style of play. I think Dayball, when he was there, was probably one of the few, not the only, that was able to kind of tame that. And now Ken Dorsey has become a casualty of Josh Allen's play. My question is for you, sports guy, is your former defensive coordinator going to survive this season?
I don't know. That's a good question. You know, he probably will. You know, but you know that's a good question. I don't know. He's on. He should be on the hot seat though.
Agreed.
Light him up.
So let me ask this question because there was big concerns with Josh Allen. I believe is what first 2 years, 3 years. Then all of a sudden, this guy came out over the offseason and he the next thing smoking. So what has happened this year, maybe starting last year, that has changed from him in the previous 3 and 4 years? Because for 2 years straight, Josh Allen's the man. They got specials of him visiting these charities and all this stuff. Did that his personal life cover up the deficiencies on the field? Has he always been that same guy? Did he have a squad around him to bail him out? Because we look at year 1, 2, and 3, iffy. 4 and 5, great. 6 and 7, I'm just throwing those years out there. Now it's like, yeah, man, this dude is killing his team. So what is happening?
Buffalo. He playing Buffalo. They're not going to get the media coverage as if Josh Allen was playing in Dallas, they would have. Hey, this would have came up a couple years ago. By him playing in Buffalo, I think that they don't get a lot of media coverage when it comes to football like other teams. So, he's been protected, so to speak. But some of the things he's doing was questioned, coming out of college, and maybe it's the change of OC, who knows? But some of the things, his decision making, it's just hurting his team.
He says all the right things in his press conferences, but looking at his body language on the sideline, looking at after he makes a mistake, you don't see the coaches in his face. You don't see the coaches really trying to, work with him or to coach him up. You see him sitting on the bench by himself. They're showing walking around. They ain't coming to the game, makes a big play. It's almost like all is forgotten. Saw a couple times last night where Joe Buck was making this man sound like he was already in the Hall of Fame, and the very next play he threw a pick. It's just a lack of accountability. They're so quick to throw him into this upper echelon of a quarterback. He's an elite quarterback, and he's just not. And until he gets that accountability, I think it is salvageable. But he needs to kind of coach, kind of no nonsense coach is not going to tolerate those interceptions, not going to tolerate the turnovers, not going to tolerate that reckless play. But until Buffalo reins that in, we're going to see more turnovers and more mistakes from Josh Allen.
I'm gonna just add something real quick, and I think this could be a reason why why we're talking about Josh Allen in the way that we are talking about him. I think the NFL wants him to be the face of the NFL, like a Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. They want somebody to fill those shoes. they recognize that there aren't really too many QBs out there that truly are legitimately, you know, that good. You know, you got Mahomes, you got obviously Lamar, and those type guys. But it's kind of like there is no QB face of the NFL right now outside of Mahomes. I mean, so I think the narrative is really to try to push Josh Allen, the guy in the chart, for the Chargers. I can't. What's his name?
Herbert.
Yeah. So you see him all on the commercials and all that stuff. But what has he done? What has he proven? So I think the narrative that they want to push or put somebody in that Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees role, they just can't find it because the talent is showing that they are not of that cloth. So I think that's part of the reason why Josh Allen is being spoken about. When you hear games that they play on national TV, like he's some kind of savior to the league or something, man. At least that's how I'm seeing it. Part of it.
Yeah, I think once the league fall in loves with you, you can't do no wrong. And I literally watched the whole episode. I think it was probably like an hour on Josh Allen last year about the things he do outside of the NFL, and that's probably what's saving him as well. So we look at this situation with Josh Allen and some players regressing, and of course somebody has to take the blame. When we look at coaches who just haven't done their job, who's a bad fit, and who needs to be brought up to their front office, which coaches we have that are on the hot seat?
I know who sports guy wants to say number one, but to me, the number one coach in the hot seat for me is Brandon Staley. Here's a guy who has a squad. He has an elite quarterback, an elite running back, an elite wide receiver, has elite player on the defensive side of the ball, but for some reason, always is coming up short. And then you got this past game and in previous games as well, where you always say him taking account, my fault that my team gave up 533 yards of total offense. My fault that we blew that fourth quarter lead. My fault this, my fault that. It's time for Brandon Staley to, it's time for a change back on San Diego and with the Chargers. I know that there's already speculation about Harbaugh and other players know would be perfect fits, but we done seen several elite quarterbacks have their careers wasted on bad coaching. And so it's time for Chargers to make a decision on him. And to me, that's number one on my list.
You know who I would put maybe not on a hot seat, but a warm seat or a seat that's getting warm? The coach down there in Miami. Now,
Not McDaniels.
McDaniels. And I say that only because look at the roster, at least on the offensive side. Look at what you have, right? Or what you started off this season with. And the fact that you have not beaten a team with a winning record, every team that you played against with a winning record, you have lost. What's the trajectory for that? What are you going to do to offset? What are you going to do to convince the league, that or convince fans that you should keep that position as head coach for a team that can't beat anybody? Yeah, it looks good. Like I said, you were the Ferrari on the street that's zooming 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. But guess what? You taking a pit stop every 10 miles. So I don't get it. I think his seat should be a little warm here. Just throw that X factor out there.
I don't agree with that. McDaniels and that team. He's probably had to have about 5 losing seasons, to get fired. The way that offense looked, the team. I mean, the trajectory is moving up. With the Dolphins. I wouldn't say anybody would think they're a Super Bowl contender right now, but I think they move in the right direction under him. But of course, I got 2 coaches. You got Rivera in Washington. I think it's pretty much done. His tenure is is gone in Washington. It ran its course. And then Frank Wright, he should be one and done. This is the worst. Carolina is the worst looking team in the NFL right now. Offensively, And then the thing is, his decision making when it comes to managing the game. That's really, what I have an issue with. And if I was to own him, like, can I move forward with him as the leader of my team? Is my team going in the right direction? There has been no positives to take away, from Bryce Young play, the way the Carolina offense looked, and he's supposed to be an offensive coach. So if we're looking like this now, uh, I can't have faith that you're going to be able to right the ship moving forward. So honestly, he should be one and done.
I would disagree with that. Based off what counteracting what you said about McDaniels. McDaniels has a squad, but you can't beat anybody. Y'all have nobody, and it shows.
You can't beat anybody.
So you can't give a man banana peels and think he's gonna succeed.
So that's kind of looking at it, and I get it. A lot of people are going to look at it from that perspective. But when you get down into the X's and O's of how he's managing the game and making mistakes over and over that a head coach shouldn't make, or play calling, plays that you run over and over, the offense is boring. The teams coming in already know what we're going to do. So it is just not good in Carolina right now. So maybe he can switch it up, but he hasn't at this point. And I don't think anybody has any faith in him moving forward. Every time that he's speaking to the media is always positive, which I get it. But, football, sometimes you might have to cuss somebody out, break some furniture or something. He always like, hey, we'll get him next time. Like, man, come on, man.
It didn't work for the offensive coordinator in Buffalo. He tore up the press box and they got him out there.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm gonna say paddle boat, river boat, whatever you want to call them. It's done for Ron. I think and I'm not trying to be funny and not I'm not trying to be inconsiderate, but I think one of the saving graces for Ron to even land this job was his overcome with cancer. I think they made it personal to the point of, hey, we're gonna be outcasted or we're gonna look a certain way if we don't give this guy the opportunity. And it comes back that we shot him down. We all know that the Commanders are in shambles and Riverboat Run didn't help. I mean, I'm sitting here watching the games and the calls he makes, you question yourself, okay, if you did this in the first quarter, why didn't you do that in the third quarter? Some of the stuff just don't tie together. And then I'm looking at also, maybe it was for money reasons or maybe not, but when you give up, in this trade, I can't speak about Montez Sweat, but I'm speaking on Chase Young. Yeah, I understand that he has the injury history, but you took a third round compensatory pick for this guy. I mean, he wasn't worth a little bit more than that. I'm not saying that's Ron's situation because, ultimately the GM has that situation, but I think as a coach, you have say so in that too. And I think as an organization, Washington has just fallen off. I wouldn't even say they lost their identity because they never had it. But I think that's one coach is definitely on the hot seat. I want to say the coach in Carolina, back to what Jay I know said, you can't give him banana peels and say, bring me a peach cobbler. I think it takes some time to build things, and you start with that quarterback. We still question, is Bryce the quarterback? Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But we've seen in the NFL time after time, an off season can resurrect these teams. You see a lot of teams that were putting up numbers last year, they iffy this year. You see teams that were borderline last year taking over. I'm not saying Cleveland was a good team or a bad team last year, but Cleveland has definitely got more respect this year. A lot of things can happen over an offseason. So I will say this, sports guy, if that is truly y'all quarterback, y'all started on the right path to getting this organization going forward. Now, it might be some turnover that needs to happen, but you're not going to win nothing without a quarterback. That's all I have to say. Give him one more year with some of these early picks that y'all going to have. What, probably top 3, top 5?
No.
Oh, that's right. You don't have it. Sorry. No, seriously. So what do y'all have anything in the second round?
Yep.
Okay. So you can find some studs there. So I mean, either way, y'all gonna have the top 5 picks in the rounds going forward, pending y'all traded something out. So y'all still should be able to get some key puzzles. I don't know what your cap salary is like, but you know.
Hey, Carolina can't even pick in the later rounds. So, that's not a positive, that we have a second round. Carolina don't even hit on picks, let alone late. I was on Twitter, talking to some fans. And I was looking at the last couple rosters. Can you really think of any All-Pro or any player with any potential that was picked from Carolina, second round and below, second and 7? There's
We
none.
were talking about that back in the day, who actually panned out from Carolina, and we just kept coming up with Steve.
The last couple years with Scott Fitterer as GM.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We had to go back to Steve Smith to be actually being somebody who stood out.
Wasn't Chin a Pro Bowler?
Who?
Jeremy Chin.
No.
He didn't make the Pro Bowl that year? He had those picks?
No, he didn't go to the Pro Bowl.
Oh, wow.
Man.
Half the players they draft is not even on the roster from the last couple years. And then when you talk about the only players that you really could give them credit for is players they picked in the first round, the top 10. We can pick players in the top 10 and be right on them. Your money maker is, after, the first round.
Right.
So they, that's why the team is bad for one, and, there's players that homegrown that's doing good in the NFL right now in the backyard, and Carolina don't even pick them. They just have been doing a terrible job. So they're going to have to get a new GM in there and start all over. They're just going to have to build around Bryce.
It sounds like y'all need to get a whole new scouting crew. I mean, I can't just put, who's your scouts? It's
they start with the owner and Bryce and let everybody else go. So moving away from these hot seats and go to a player that's smoking hot. CJ Stroud, the future Hall of Famer.
Yep, he's moving that direction.
I'm slowly becoming a believer. I need a couple more games, but the young man is doing some things. Is he the leading candidate for the MVP? Because I think we already locked it up. He's the rookie of the year. Unless something crazy happened, he's the rookie of the year. Has this man jumped above all pros and put himself in that top light as the MVP of this season? And can he sustain what he's doing?
I wouldn't say that he's the very top of the MVP race right now, but he definitely got his name in it. These last couple of games, he's strung along. I mean, the guy's very impressive how he plays. Putting up yards, most importantly, putting up wins, inspiring his team, making everyone better. So if Texans are able to make the playoffs, winning the division, I think it would take them probably winning the division. But he definitely should get top billing consideration MVP. But one thing I would say about Stroud that impressed me the most wasn't the yards he threw for, or wasn't the touchdowns he threw. It was the interception he threw because he threw a pick He came right back and marched them down the field, got them in field goal range and won the game. So he's showing the poise. He's showing the composure as a rookie. So I think it can be sustained. And he has a very bright future ahead.
We're seeing something we never seen before. We never seen a rookie come in and play, like CJ Stroud. I think CJ Stroud maybe got one interception, something like that. 1, 2 at the most. Two, I think two. For a rookie. Most rookies coming in throwing picks right and left. But he got ice in his veins and his team believes in him. It's one thing to have a quarterback and when you're losing and your team like, hey, we still gonna win because our quarterback, we believe in him. He's the undisputed leader of that team right now. He makes everyone around him better. He motivates them. So when they believe in you, that means you're gonna run your route sharper. You can go play hard. Because your quarterback gonna get you the ball if you get open. So he's already, in my opinion, he is the front runner for MVP right now. Who's the next person behind him right now that we can put in that conversation? I don't have anyone right now. If he get him to the playoffs and he continue to play in the way that he's playing, he will be the first rookie to win an MVP.
And I would totally agree with that. I mean, to your point, sports guy, when you think about the level of play that he's playing at right now, who else can you speak of all pro? I mean, all things considering, who else can you really speak of doing what he's doing right now, rookie or no rookie? Nobody. Nothing really stands out to me. I mean, I'm not hearing anything. But if we're just looking at what he's accomplished so far this season, right? As far as being a rookie, has the most passing yards per game. I think he shredded the single game passing yard record. I mean, and we just going to be saying the same things here, but the guy has the poise. He has the demeanor of a true leader. Something Caleb Williams needs to be paying attention to. This. If there's somebody that any of these collegiate athletes need to be paying attention to, it's definitely CJ Stroud, especially being a QB and showing his maturity, showing his passion for the game. He has to be in the study. He has to be watching film because you can't come out on every Sunday or just about every Sunday doing the things he's doing without being a student of the game, having a good coaching staff. And let's give it up to DeMarco, right?
Yeah.
D'Amico, I'm sorry if I mispronounce his name. Let's give it up to him and what his impact is. He has to be having an impact on that team as well. So, those two succeeding together, I love to see it. I think CJ is definitely, and I'm gonna use a sports guy word, trajectory. That trajectory is off the charts right now, and I don't see a reason why it won't continue to keep going up. He just shows he has all the attributes of a leader, a QB, somebody that you want taking the snaps every down, and you have the confidence. And once the team has the confidence in their quarterback, their leader, man, they start playing above what you think they normally can play, So big ups to CJ.
Yeah, I want to comment on something. I don't know if you guys heard the interview, the press conference with CJ Stroud on Bryce Young.
I did.
I didn't hear it, but I know it's something.
Yeah, there's an interview where they interviewed CJ Stroud, and he spoke on Bryce Young, and he said, that's my friend, and we don't talk about football when we text each other. He said he feels that Bryce Young is playing good football. He said it just could be in the place that he's in. He says, but he's not here to judge Bryce Young. He's only here to support them. And, so many times these interviews, they try to bait these players. They try to bait them to go against each other because you're looking at y'all the top 2 drafts from this year. We're going to try to bait you to say you're playing great and he's not playing good at all, but he didn't fall for it. So I commend the young man on how he handled that. He let everybody pretty much know that they're friends outside of football and he has nothing but support from them. And he actually thinks he's playing well at this moment. So, yeah, that was a little clip I caught this weekend with CJ Stroud.
Yeah, and I think, and to piggyback on that, that shows his character, and I think he's a very deep into faith, right? He's a very I won't say religious, but he definitely has faith. He puts God first, and in the way he come across, that's starting to show like that. You know, he's just a good dude, man. I mean,
Yeah.
and you root for people like that, you know. And to
Yeah.
your point, Samson, when you're top two picks, they want to, you know, make you guys go against each other, and for you to support your brother like that, man, that's something that shows his character and the type of person that he is. So
Right. So yeah, I think CJ Stroud is definitely legit. Gonna definitely keep my eye on him, but you know, I just want to piggyback on what you said with D'Amico, man. Hats off to him coming from our organization. You know, a lot of coaches, they don't go to their next venue and actually get a spotlight put on their team. And you know, not about the coach, but look, we're talking about CJ Stroud. He had something to do with that pick. So I think they definitely got the right guy. I think D'Amico is an excellent coach. I hate that we lost him, but you know, as long as the powers that be step back, meaning the GM does their job and the owners step back and just cut the checks and let this team be ran by the coaches and the GM, Texans, man, they're going to be a problem later on if they keep that quarterback together and build pieces around them. Oh yeah, they're going to be legit.
for sure. And you know what? We don't talk about it. I mean, that line has to be playing pretty good for you know Stroud to be
Right,
as
because
successful as he
we're
is.
not seeing much where he's
Right,
scrambling, running crazy, and
right,
just throwing the ball out there.
right.
Yeah,
So they have to be playing top notch, man. But
the
obviously,
trenches, man.
yeah.
Games are won and lost there. All right, so that's it on CJ Stroud. Trajectory way up. I'm becoming a believer.
Hmm.
Another home run show knocked out the park. But before I leave, I just want to tell you guys, 49ers are back.